Hey guys, so today I just wanted to share with you some really important portrait photo editing tips in Lightroom that I use every single time I take a portrait. They're super important, so let's get straight into them. So right here, I've got 6 different portraits open in Lightroom just to show you that these tips are pretty universal and you can pretty much use them on any portrait scenario that you come across. So the very first one, in order to make your portraits pop and bring the subject out from the background, you need to darken it. So to darken the background, what we're going to do is I'm just going to drop the exposure on the entire image, just underexposing everything, and I'm going to jump over to this circle filter, bring it as best we can around our subject. I'm just going to bring the exposure up on that, and you can already see the difference that that is making to our image. So now our next tip, now this is a very big one, and this is the eyes. Eyes in a portrait are very important, especially when you can see them. There are some portraits where you can't really see the eyes, so this doesn't apply for them. The ones where you can see the eye clearly, you really need to focus on making it pop. You really need the eye to be noticeable, because that'll take your portrait from like here to here. But you need to be very careful as not to make the eye too prominent so they look like a werewolf. So I'm just going to use this photo for an example because you can see the eye the best and the most clearly out of the other portraits. So the first thing we want to do is we want to grab again a circle filter like this, zoom yourself in, so you just want to make the circle cover the eye as best you can, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to up the exposure a little bit. It's really up to your preference with how prominent you want the eye to be. You can make it more prominent by upping the exposure and then vice versa, and you can see the portrait starting to look a lot nicer now because we're balancing everything out. Now on to our next tip, and this one I don't really see a lot of people utilizing, and this is to add some dynamic light coming from some point of the image. So you can see here there's already a highlight on her hair where the light's coming from the corner here, and you can see it a little bit there, but it's not prominent enough. So this is where this filter comes in. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna bring it down from here, and then all you gotta do is up the exposure. For me, I'm gonna put the white balance a little more this way, make it a little more sunsetty. So what we've pretty much done there is just accentuated the highlight that was already coming through. So our next step, and this is composition. This is huge when it comes to taking portraits. Now, if you can get the composition in camera, good on you, that is awesome. But what you really wanna look for, and this is very hard to get in portraits, is one of the eyes directly down the center of the image. Now you can see here, complete fluke, I have got her eye dead down the middle of the image. Now that's what you're aiming for in a portrait. That's the ideal, is to have their head off to one side, but one of the eyes down the center of the image, because that'll draw focus to the eye and also to the face. And it's even better when you edit the eye like I did from one of the previous tips, you've got yourself a banger. Full body shots are a little bit different because you can have them in the center if you like. It's really up to creative choice. I like playing around with the different composition rules. Another thing you want to avoid is really bright glistening parts of your image. So you can see here in this photo, especially where the highlight is, there's this white spot. Now that is very distracting from the rest of the image because of how bright it is. So a quick way we're going to eliminate that is to just get one of these circle filters, pop it around that part, and just drop the highlights all the way. And you can see it completely eliminated the bright glisten that was in her hair, and now the image is a lot more balanced. It still looks a little bland, and that's because we haven't touched the saturation dial yet. What we're gonna do is, I'm not gonna use this saturation dial because that will bring everything up. And you can see she becomes a lot more orange, hair becomes a lot more yellow, and it just ruins the photo. So we're just gonna go down a little bit more to the HSL/color dial, and we wanna jump into saturation. And now we can edit each color manually. I wanna bring out this red shirt, but you wanna be very careful that you don't ruin the skin tone of your subject like that. Because as soon as you start bringing too much saturation into it, the skin tone goes out the window because the skin tone is a shade of orange. This tip is about color themes. You really need your photo to have a specific color theme. The reason this photo looks average is because we've got white, green, orange, blue, pink, yellow, there's a ton of random colors in here. So to fix that, we want to try and isolate some of the colors or make them merge in with other colors to just bring down the color count of the image. So what I'm going to do here, very first thing, is the white balance. The white balance is a perfect way to kind of get colors to match with each other. So I'm just going to bring it over to the blue side, go down to the hues, and just switch the blues a little bit like this way. You can see now some of the white parts of the image are becoming blue. This green's, it's still too many colors, so I'm just gonna grab the green, pop it all the way to this side to try and match it with the orange, and then same with the yellow. I'm just gonna bring it this way to just try and match it with Eden's hair here. And you can see already we've got this nice blue, this nice orange, but you can see there's definite colors in the photo now, whereas before, a little bit all over the place. So that's all the tips for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!